Hey y'all, it's Nat. So I hope you guys are doing okay. Well, I guess I hope you guys are doing good, not just okay. But I am back with a what is keeping me motivated on my journey. So I wanted to go over just some of the things that keep me motivated, which I will kind of talk about why this thought kind of came to my head because it was a bit funny. Funny to me because I'm crazy. Okay, so just to kind of like ease into it, I'm gonna go into the silly one because I think, yeah, it's kind of silly when you say it out loud, that this is keeping me motivated, but it truly is something that is been a very important part of my life for 10 years now. So I know it may seem silly, but it's been something that's really helped me through a lot of hard times, and that is BTS. So, I, if in case you've been living under a rock, or maybe I'm just delusional and I think that everybody knows my faves, BTS is a K-pop group. Um, their Korean name is Bangtan Sonyeondan, and I hope I pronounced that right. I honestly need to learn Korean just because I've been a fan for so long. There's literally no reason why I shouldn't have tried to dip my toe into it when I literally consume so much media that's in Korean. So, hey, you know what? I'm just getting my life together through, trying to lose weight and do this. Maybe that's the next one. Maybe that's the one where I'm starting to get the hang of this a little bit more. I'll start incorporating a little bit more of language learning into my new lifestyle, okay? So that might be a little bit later. But the reason why I wanted to make this video, and it wasn't just so I could talk about BTS, which I love doing, it's because I was on my walking pad just today, and I've been just kind of watching. Hold on, got a little bit of a blockage there. I just recorded another video where I reacted to some of my April video logs, so my throat's a little bit scratchy. So today when I was doing my walking pad time, I had kind of like I not that I stumbled across it because I always get BTS recommended on my YouTube because obviously I will. But most of the time when I'm watching something to like distract myself while I'm on the walking pad, it'll usually be like some kind of Minecraft video. Maybe it might be like a reaction channel video or something like that, just because it's something that like I can visually see and hear. But today I put on a old BTS performance video of when they were like I think it was 2020 or 2028 2018, something like that. And just realizing that actually a lot of the things that are motivating me are something that BTS has given me that dream. And like let me explain, okay? So I feel like when I was younger, especially when I started liking BTS, what I really like drew me to them was the fact that they were hard workers, right? So that they were people that I can just tell that they were working so hard to achieve their dreams. And then getting to know like the actual like members more, because they have a lot of like they had like their Bangtang bombs, they had their Run BTS episodes, they had other like little things that they would do that you can kind of see a bit more of their personality, a bit more of like the stuff that they were going through, and just a lot of things. And of course, just to disclose, I've never watched every single thing they've ever dropped, and I am so entirely behind on a lot of the stuff that they released when they were in the military. And that's just because I was not in a good frame of mind back then. So if I had to be confronted with the fact that they were in the military, that they weren't like active, which why did that affect my mental health so much? Well, it's because they were a lot of the reasons why I kept going. Okay, like they truly were, and I know that's kind of like super parasocial and a little bit like, okay, girl, like when you really think about it. But like I said, it's just they were the ones that helped me be okay with dreaming again. Like I and it's still something that's really hard for me to admit to people, even just like now, about what my dreams are, what goals I have in life and all that, because for a long time I didn't really have any, or like I guess I could say I had some, but usually when people are like, my dream is to do XYZ, they have a clear or clear-ish like vision of the road to that dream, right? I don't think anybody ever just says, I dream of being an astronaut, and don't realize, okay, well, I'm going to have to go to school for this degree to be able to do that. I'm going to have to get into some kind of training boot camp academy something, right? Like they usually would know what the road ahead to that is. And I had a lot of things that would come up in my head where I would think, oh, maybe this is my dream. Maybe this is what I want to do. But for me, whenever I would try to think of the potential roadmap, the journey that it would take to get to that dream, I just don't know if it was like lack of motivation or maybe lack of I don't know why I'm thinking of like a Minecraft term right now, like a speedrunning term where it's like I couldn't see the line. Like we're like the line to victory, the line to to succeed, to win, and I'm like I couldn't even think of it because I just didn't believe that I could actually do it. Like and it was like very deep, like where I truly just didn't think I had the energy, the smarts, the capability, the ability. I was a giver upper. Okay, I was someone who would just give up a lot, and that's kind of, it sucks to say that, but like you have to be very very honest with yourself in order to heal. And it's something that I hated to hear because I always thought I was someone who was pretty motivated, that I was able to find success in my life. But then I realized, like maybe sometime last year, that I was really lowballing myself for so many years, where I would like say my position that I was in previously before I got this new job, people would always tell me like, hey, you should try to promote, you should try to promote, you should try going up, you should try becoming like a manager, right, instead of just doing what you were doing, which was like manager assistant. The whole time I was thinking like, I don't want that kind of stress, I don't want that kind of work, I'm okay doing this is okay for now. And when I finally had the like, and I always speak on the mind shift change, but it's because it truly is what actually helped me was shifting into a new way of thinking. And for this one, it was me thinking like, because I was in that role for almost 3 years, 3 something years, and thinking, oh well, I don't honestly think that I could handle it, I don't think I'm qualified, I don't have a degree, I'm never succeeded in anything in my life. And the thing is, it's like that's such a disservice to myself, to where I was just putting myself down at every turn, at every chance that I could. I was taking my own accomplishments and just being like, oh, that was luck. Oh, well, that was just because they didn't have anybody else to do that. Because even when I was younger and I worked at McDonald's, I was able to become a manager. And at first I thought, well, that's because I've been working there so long. Like, who else were they going to choose to become manager? But there was a lot of other people that worked with me just as long, and they never, you know, they never tried, or they never wanted to. And like half of being able to succeed is actually trying. So there's a lot of people that I think like, who like again worked there just as long as I did, but they never tried to become managers. And it was when I tried to do it that I was able to succeed and do it. And same with the job that I have now, right? Where, or even the pastoral, where I was the manager assistant, that still took an interview, that still took a resume process. That's still, I think that was a success, but I took it as like a, oh, well, I had already been doing the role for so long. That's probably why, that was probably why they did it. Not allowing myself to actually feel like, oh, my hard work and my own skill, my own work ethic was able to get me to that position. I always just was like, it was luck, it was convenience for them, and that's just how I always was. Sure, like as a kid, I can remember I did have like those dreams. I wanted to be a baker. At one point, I wanted to work for Area 51. That was a crazy time. I really, really liked aliens for a hot minute. Still do, but there was a time where I was like a really weird kid. But then like I got afraid and I got too much into the I won't amount to anything. It's too hard to do these hard things. Like I just wasn't I'm not somebody that can break through and actually, like what is it? Not succumb, overcome their circumstances. That I wasn't someone that could overcome their circumstances and be able to have their dream come true. So for like a lot of my young adult and even like up until like my 20, like late 20s, probably up until 2 years ago, okay? Like I didn't have dreams and I didn't have like any goals in life. And when I started liking BTS, like again, they're extremely hard workers, very, very talented. I don't think they'd be this successful if it weren't for the fact that they put themselves through that with blood, sweat, and tears. They chipped away because at first it was more like instead of seeing it as a possibility for me, where hard work, dedication can make you overcome extreme adversity, overcome the odds, and be able to achieve your dreams. Instead, I was more like I think that that's possible for them. There was times where I was just there like so supportive of like I believe in them. I believe that their hard work, dedication, talent, whatever can get them to that goal. And they themselves would always preach like loving yourself for like the fans, where they had a whole album and they would always constantly like say like, you guys helped us love ourselves. We want you guys to love yourselves, like. And I know at the time, like that motto that they would, preach to like fans, that it was something that they were working on themselves. And I know like at that time, like I mentioned it, I was not in any position to actually start like the process of actually loving myself, because now I understand that in order to actually do that, you have to take care of yourself. Okay, like I still had it in my head that loving yourself was just a blind like blanket. I love everything about me. Like I don't want to change anything about me. Everything that is me right now is like I love it entirely. That just wasn't the case. Like I was going through a lot of different situations, and I was obviously not very happy with my size. Like even back then, I think I'll add some photos of just because it is a BTS related kind of concept of like some of the what I look like during some of the earlier tours, some of my earlier videos and stuff. And even then, like I wasn't very happy with my weight because I still was overweight. I'm probably obese. What I'm trying to like say though, like just to kind of round it out, of course, is that being like like because even I guess maybe just through exposure therapy, like I've mentioned, right, where because I'm seeing even like my idols who I know again parasocial believe are perfect, right? Or they of course present themselves in the best way possible, but where I was like, I like how could they be unhappy with themselves? They are so talented, so hardworking, like they're achieving so many different things, like they're living their dream. And for them to even say, yeah, we're still trying to work on this ourselves, right? We are also in the process of doing this, because in their heads they also were struggling, and they've mentioned this pretty recent. JK Jungkook, he was talking with one of the members, Suga, on one of their like his I think it's like a podcast. No, it's not a podcast. It was just like a kind of like a video series where he would interview people and they would drink like different cocktails that and just talk about like different subjects and such. And in his episode, he was saying how he's never happy with like where he's at right now. That like he always wants to like improve, be better. And I know in my head like now I can see that and say, well, I believe that that's because in his head, right? That's how he is, like that's what he wants to do, like that's his dream. He wants to always be like a good artist. He always wants to be a good singer, a good performer, and he's willing to always analyze what he's doing, improve, do better next time. And like back then, like I just wasn't ready for that, but to see it exemplified like over and over again by like the people that I am watching, the people that I am consuming like their media, it does kind of do that exposure therapy where you kind of get it's implanted in the brain like a sleeper agent. And then once you're actually ready, and you're actually ready to heal, you're actually ready to start truly loving yourself, taking care of yourself, then that's when like the sleeper agent in you, like the little love yourself like like minion that finally comes out. And like you can actually work on getting to like a point where you can truly love yourself. And even then, I still believe now that it's always going to be a process. There's always going to be things that we're a little, like, damn, like, I wish I wasn't so messy. And it's just about doing little things to improve, right? Because, like, if you're a little messy, try to find a way to tidy up every once in a while, I don't know. And yeah, so that's just kind of how like that love yourself mentality, like how it ended up helping me, but just way later in the future when I was actually ready to do it for myself. But I still believe that them being like, again, just so open and genuine about, hey, you know what, we still struggle with this and we're still working on it. And you guys should also work on it, like it's something that I do believe was very, very conducive to my journey now, especially with going into those older performances and remembering like, oh, I was such a different person back then. Like back then, this Natalie was just a dream that I like, like where I had the actual energy and passion and motivation to change my life and do better and be the person that I've always wanted to be. So, with being a fan of them, I think just from osmosis, just from exposure therapy, I slowly started to actually believe again that it was possible for anybody to work hard and achieve their dreams and get to a level of success. And just by being authentic, being themselves, being hard workers, and they like definitely help me get on the journey to loving myself. Even if they don't know me, I don't know them, just from them being them, what motivated me to like even like be able to connect these dots so much later. I think I probably would have been so much more behind if it weren't for them kind of building a basis of me seeing the example of what I needed to be able to put it into myself. Like that kind of helped me, one, connect myself to being able to believe that I can succeed, believe I can have dreams and fulfill them and have them. And then as well as just other tiny little things that I think being a fan of BTS is kind of motivating me now that I'm like actually on the journey and actually like trying to like get into that dream life that now I'm allowing myself to imagine, allowing myself to believe I can achieve. And that is that I want to be able to travel more. And like that always included traveling to different parts of Asia. Like I've always wanted to go to Japan. I've always like now like since I've become a fan of K-pop, wanted to go to Korea and wanted to be able to do that. And like in Europe too. Like Europe has been something that I've wanted to see. Like Italy, Lizzie McGuire movie. Spain, Cheetah Girls 2 movie. Uh I don't know, like I just like, I've seen places that I'm like, I hope that in my adult life I'll be able to go and see. And I want to again have the ability to do that in not just financial terms, because I'm also on a financial journey, um to like repair my finances, finally get myself in a little more stable of a spot, but just like energy wise, because like yeah, sure, like is it possible to be a big plus size girl and travel the world and do all of this stuff? Yeah, of course. Like, and I totally believe that people should if they want to, right? Like to not let their weight stop them from doing things they want to do. However, I want to go and be able to have the energy to run around and to strut, to, strut like I mean it. And like down Barcelona, like, or to be able to like actually enjoy the time that I'm there and not have to be like, oh my God, it's hot. Oh my God, I'm tired. I've been walking like 2 miles. Like, oh, I can't do this. And they don't got AC over there. Europe. Okay, sorry, I'm a hater. But I would want to be comfortable. And especially with, again, tying BTS back into this, right? Like dream of being able to see them in an actual show in Korea or Japan, because like it's definitely a different energy when they're in their home country, which not to say that I think that, oh, they treat them better and they don't have as much, like we don't have as much fun over here, that they like give them a different energy. Nothing like that at all. Like of course they're going to have different energy for different cities, different shows, whatever. But it is definitely a dream of mine to go to their like actual like home base and see them there where they're very naturally comfortable, and of course understand them. So I do want to, like, again, incorporate learning some Korean as well. And just Japan, I think that'd be really fun because I know the Japanese fandom is like they go hard, and they have a lot of really good Japanese singles and like tracks and stuff. So it's just another dream of mine to be able to see them, and as well as for Twice too, because like those two are like my big groups that I love. And Twice is like a girl group, K-pop group, and they also have a really big fan base in Japan, and they have really good music that's in Japanese. So being able to get to the dream, like of traveling and doing it in a healthy body where I'm not worrying about, oh, I can't fit in a seat for 16 hours and I'm gonna be so uncomfortable just from like, because I know that if like at my biggest, I would have probably been like a spectacle, where, whoa, this girl's really tall and she's like super morbidly obese. Like I don't think that it would have been as bad as I had my nightmares were telling me, but I just wouldn't have been comfortable. I would have had that thought in the back of my head the entire time I was walking around. And in a lot of the countries where it's like a, what is it called, like a mono culture, where like mono race, like where like there's not a whole lot of variety like there is here in the States, where you can walk anywhere and there's all types of cultures, like all types of people from different walks of life. And over there it's like it's mostly like 90% Koreans, like ethnically Koreans, like it's very different. And then seeing foreigners, you kind of stick out, right? Because you look different. And like I said, I'm tall as hell and I was big as hell, so I was just afraid of what that might look like, like I'm still going to be tall, but and I'm not saying that like, oh, I want to make sure I'm skinny so that they like me. No, okay. I just, again, it would have just been a self esteem, self conscious kind of thing. And I just wouldn't have been having any fun. That would have been in the back of my dang head. And if I had the opportunity tomorrow to get on a flight and go to Japan or Korea, like fully paid, someone's like, let's go, I'll treat you. You know what? I'm going. I don't care. Like, I think I will be able to get over it and go. But just for like my sake now, it's definitely something that's motivating me. It's something that I want to, you know, do in the way that I would prefer doing it, which is in a smaller body. And also, just like, again, going back to BTS, because like that kind of just incorporated like the traveling aspect of what's keeping me motivated, which is just, dreams of traveling. And that is that I can fully enjoy like being at a concert. So I guess this includes everybody, right? And anybody that I like to go see, that can be 21 Pilots, can be BTS, Twice, anybody really. I really love just going to concerts, but just to be able to fully enjoy a concert with no pain, because when I was getting pretty big, so I think for the last BTS concert that I went to, it was 2022. I think it was for the Permission to Dance in Las Vegas. It was 4 days, and I went to all 4 days. But I remember that I was like getting really, really winded, and not like winded, like I was like, it was more like my body was just getting really tired really fast. And it was like I was jumping around. Okay, at that point they had Outro Wings playing, and that song's super high. And then they also had So What, I think. Was Permission to Dance So What? So What? I don't know. It might have been. But maybe it was Idol. But like there was just like moments that like you would have to jump up, like jump around, have fun, and just be like a fan at a concert. And I want to be able to do that and not feel like I might have busted my knee, like, or like, oh my god, my legs are asleep from standing so long, and just stuff like that. I want to be able to enjoy concerts with no pain. So that's another motivation that I have. And I know this one's a little bit silly, but I know like BTS jokes around about it a lot too, where they're saying like they want to be out there performing in their 60s and that they want to see just like all of us there with them. And I want to be there too. Okay. I want to be around to see them performing in their 60s. Do I think that they should, or I'd be upset if they didn't? I just think like their silly little, um, statement, I want to, if it does come true and they actually do that, I want to be able to be there. Okay? Like if they had if like all of the Beatles were still alive and they had a reunion tour when they were 60, I'm sure all of the Beatle fans that were fans of them when they were younger would want to go, and it'd be, like a great experience. And I know there's a lot of other bands that like that were around way like back in the day, and like they have tours now, and I want to be alive to be able to make that a reality. Okay, like I want to be able to able to get into my 60s, because like BTS, I'm older than 3 of them, younger than 4 of them, so like I will be like growing up like at the same rate. Well, everyone grows up at the same freaking rate now, but I'll be the same age as them. So just to like have that as one of my motivations. I know it's silly, but hey, whatever keeps you going, am I right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to move on to some maybe more serious motivations that I think have been keeping me going, and I'm actually surprised. I'm kind of zooming through these. I guess I really wanted to talk about this. So, to get into a bit more of the serious, like, kind of motivations that are keeping me going. So, of course, like, this is, I don't know why this is so tough for me to talk about. I know, like, some of the things that I'm going to be talking about are going to be really, really hard for me to talk about, but this one just as equally as tough. And I don't know why it's so hard to admit it, but one of the things that is motivating me to continue on and like trying to get to the healthiest me I can be is wanting to have a family. Okay, like I have a family of my own, like because I have a family right now. Like it's just I want to be able to like have a partner and kids and be able to do all of that for as long as I can, right? Like I know of course life always has its its little quirks, I guess I should say. So I nothing's ever guaranteed in life, but I want to ensure I have the best fighting chance to be able to try to achieve that and like have a long life and be able to have what I want, right? So like of course when you want to have a family and you want like to start like for me, right? I think one of my dreams from childhood, which I'm totally okay if this ends up not being the case. Like, I would never be one of these people, which let me explain it first before I start going into justifications. My bad. If I'm marrying for life. And that's something that that's just been what I've always wanted, right? Where I'm gonna make sure that one, my standards are high because I want to make sure that the person that is finally it is it forever, you know? Like, and to me, I know like that's kind of like probably because of course I come from a divorced household, but the thing was it's I truly don't think they should have been together. And not even like because of like they were extremely toxic. I think if anything they hid a lot of that from us, like me and my sister. Like just hearing back on some of the things my mom would tell me about my dad and like how they just didn't seem like a match, you know, where she would say, oh, I would always want to go dancing, or I would always want to go and hang out with like go to a party with like that had family, and I would always want to do like things like to like being like she was like an extrovert, you know, like she liked going out, having fun with friends, having fun with like whatever. And it just like my dad would always like not want to go, wouldn't want to do that. And I'm like, that's a pretty big like personality difference. And I was just like, well, I didn't want to ask them, why'd you guys like get married? Like, because I didn't want to know. I was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know why. And like have any illusion of a happy family for the first 12 years of my life go away. Okay. So well, I guess obviously it wasn't that happy, right? And I know what came out of it at the end. So I just mean like seeing that I was just like, I want to make sure that I get it right. And if that means I'm single for the rest of my life, then I'm okay with that, you know? Because I didn't want to have kids with the first guy I fell in love with, and then they're not the one that's going to be in my life forever. And then having to have that like split family dynamic. And I just didn't want that for my own kids. So I was like, if I can't have the kids with the partner and like, not like make it work, because this is again why I don't want to get into like the like, oh well, there's a lot of people that had that mindset and they stayed in very toxic relationships because they wanted to stick it out because marriage is forever. I don't think I would ever take it to that extent, because I 100%, if someone lays a hand on me, I'm out of there. I'm 100% out of there. Because if my dad never put his fucking hands on me, I'm not letting any man put their hands on, even or other woman. Okay, I would not ever allow that for myself. Doesn't matter how much I love him. And a lot of people tell me, Natalie, it's like I know. I've also seen the cycle of intimate partner violence. I know how it works, where it's lovey-dovey, love bombing. Then they're like kind of testing the waters. They start doing a little bit of things that you're like, but no, they love me. Like they literally like did all of this like romantic stuff for me. I know they love me. They care for me. Like that's just a little odd. You stay. And then it starts getting worse and worse and worse. And it gets to the point where like it's so hard to say because like like where it gets to the point where it becomes bad, and then the cycle starts again because then they'll start doing the loving, so I know how people stay in abuse for a long time, and sometimes people are like, well, you don't understand, when you love someone it's so hard. They don't understand how annoyingly like well, not annoyingly, because I think it's a good skill, where my like cutoff game is strong. Okay, I'd be a-okay being like, snip snip, okay, get out of here. And even with kids, because I know like that's a lot of things, like people with kids and are in relationships, they stay because of that, because they want their kids to have a parent. And I know, like I'm saying right now, right, that my dream is to have a family, that I stick with that partner for my whole life, and that me and them can have kids and watch them grow and have kids of their own while we get old. And like that's like my envisioning of it. But I just wanted to preface that I understand that sometimes that isn't possible, and that mindset isn't always healthy, because if again, this dream person that I end up if I like that I end up being with, like the person that I was like, you know what, I held my standards high, I think they're perfect, this is going to be the lifelong person, and then if they go and they flip, I'm dropping them. I don't care. Like that, like it's not a mindset where I'm gonna be like, no, my dream, I wanted to stick with them forever. Like I have that nuance, and I understand like that it's not always possible, but it's okay to have dreams, right? So again, why this is my motivation, and that's just that one, in my dream life, right, of what I want in a partnership, what I want in a partner. Like for some reason in my head, I was always even like, because like when you're in a delusion that being like fat is going to be your forever, like you're in that mindset that I had, I was just like, oh well, obviously my dream partner is going to be someone who loves me as I am, because why would I want to have somebody that would only love me at my skinniest? And I don't think that's fair to myself, because like I don't like I'm still the same, I'm still going to be the same person. And if it's just that I end up being with someone who like would like want to be with me because I have better eating habits, I make being active a priority, and take my health very seriously and want to maintain that health, and because they don't are not either like they're not somebody that wants a partner that doesn't match that, and like again, I want a partner that's also like that, especially as of recently, where I was thinking like I don't think I would want a partner now that doesn't have a very similar lifestyle to me, which is where they would want to be eating healthier, they would want to be active with me. But yeah, like I just realized like I wouldn't want to have a partner that's like on the couch 24/7, always playing video games, eats like Doritos and Mountain Dew all day. Like, and I've had like I'd be super down if my partner was a gamer that was like, that did like, cuz I like games, obviously. I also consider myself a gamer of sorts. And so like that's not something like, cuz I know I'm listing a couple of gamer stereotypes, and that's why I'm saying like I wouldn't mind if they were a gamer, but I would also want them to have healthy habits too, because would I want to date someone that's my size who was like me before, where they had no dreams, they had no ambition, they had no like, no, like, because I wouldn't want my kids to like see those habits either, because another one of the things that is motivating me to get healthy to before I start a family is that I want to have my kids like be healed from all of the generational trauma that I've had to, or I'm still trying to heal out of, right? Which would be like the toxic dieting, the unhealthy thoughts of food, the struggles with obesity, high blood pressure, cancer, and just like overeating, like all of these things that I want to be able to heal it so that my kids don't have to live with those. I want them to be able to have like the healthiest possible start to life as I could potentially give them. And that also is like another reason is just that, like, of course, like if I was like, oh, you guys need to make sure you eat healthy, whatever, whatever. And then I also never could play or actually be present with my kids because I'm maybe like too tired because I eat like shit and I'm not used to running around after a toddler, or like I just feel like I wouldn't be as present of a parent. And I'm a Cancer moon, which that probably means nothing to a lot of y'all, but Cancer is like the sign of of like nurturing, mothering. And I definitely feel like that is something that I resonate very true with, because like I definitely feel like like mothering comes very easily to me. It's something that I definitely feel like I have like had a very maternal energy to me my whole life, and I've always wanted to have kids, and I've always wanted to have a family. And I know when I was way younger, I honestly was like, "Oh, I'm going to have a kid before I'm 25, and I'm going to 31 now," and I'm like, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready." I don't know what I would have thrown my poor child into if I would have actually had a kid at 25 or even before 25, because I was still struggling with like my mental health, with my own ideas of self-worth, and just like all of these other things that I'm like, I would have been dragging that poor child through that while I try to like heal it myself. But I think like when you are trying to release things that you're like trying to unlearn and trying to heal, I think unfortunately even like the people around you, because like kids are super perceptive, all right? Like kids will absorb just about any like of your energies as possible. Because like I've seen it where there was parents who would say like, people always ask me why my kids are always so smiley. And she was like, I don't get it. I thought all babies just like kind of smiled all the time. You know, they're babies, they're happy. And then they realized that like, no, it's because whenever I see my kids, I'm always smiling. She's like, because I'm so happy and I love them and I see them all the time. And so every time I like peek into their crib, I had a smile on my face. And so now all of her kids are always happy, smiling, you know, like they absorb that. And I think that's just kind of like, even if it is that you're trying to heal and trying to slowly unlearn these things, unfortunately, I do feel like they will still kind of absorb some of it. And now I'm really glad that I didn't have any kids back then. Again, being able to be my age now, and I know a lot of times people are like, oh, the clock is ticking. Like, you don't want to have kids. I don't care if I have a kid when I'm 38, because in 7 years, that's still like a really long time. Okay. And yeah, like there's some complications that may come with being an older parent. But even then, if I can't have kids naturally, I'll adopt. Like there's still so many options. And again, if it's so that I can ensure that I have the best possible start to my child's life, I will do it. And so that is one of the big motivators that is keeping me on track and like really making me want to be a better me so that I can be that better me from my future family and not like pass down any of the negative that I've been kind of like my baggage, you know? I don't want to pass on that baggage. And of course, like having like my own like family that I make and that I will nourish and such. Of course, I also want to do it for my family now, right? Like I want to make sure that I can be around to see nephews and like like nieces and just like see the way my family, like the people that I've grown up around, how they have their own families, how and be able to be there and be like kind of like the same way that like I feel like my family was, where I definitely feel like we had like a community, is that what it's called? No, a support system. What is that term? Why do I always forget things? A village, like, you know, like it definitely felt like my family with the way that we lived, the way we moved together and stuff, that there was like a village around me. And like the thought of having a big family, like I think it was something that I really enjoyed having a big family. And which is, it's funny to say now because I moved very far away from them for my own mental health, not because I don't love them. Like I still miss them every day. It's just they weren't allowing me to grow. And I don't, that's not their fault, because like I think sometimes when you're around people that have known the old versions of you for so long, it's hard to shed that, like shed that old you and try to improve. I don't know why for me it was very very hard. I was just like, it wasn't like they were like smothering me where like they wouldn't let me do things or anything like that at all. Like it was just, it was hard for myself to do it. Like it was hard for me to do it, because like it was again that shame, that kind of embarrassment of like being like, oh, I'm like, I think me and my roommate, we talked about this before, where the the being perceived, trying to make changes and improve yourself, sometimes it can be a little embarrassing. I don't know why. Like, I think she has the same kind of trauma I do, but it was just something where, like, yeah, being perceived by family members trying, like when I first tried to learn how to do makeup and trying to look pretty and like doing all that, it was like really embarrassing doing it in front of my family, because then they would just be like, oh, you like trying to look nice. And I was just like, I can't, I can't let them perceive me trying, like trying to do something. It seemed embarrassing to me. Okay. And that was just probably because, again, no self esteem, no amount of self worth at that time. So I'm definitely getting a lot better at that, but it was still really hard for me back then. And I definitely needed that time, or like that space, to be able to like come out here and grow out of the box I had put myself in for so many years. So that's kind of like, another motivation for me is just doing it so that I can be around with them and for them, like, like, because like I said, a village, like that's something that I had, and it's something that I hope that I could have with my family now. And I know it's kind of hard being so far, but I don't think that's going to be forever. Like there might be a time where like someone might move here, I might move over there, or maybe they move here. I'd rather them move here, but um yeah, like life can take us in all different kinds of places, and I want to be there to be around with them for a long time. And my my last, but I don't think it's like like this isn't the full list of all little things, but of course there's other little things that I might just be forgetting, or like things that like slight motivations, like wanting to, again, fit into nicer clothes, fit into merch tour, like, and not just merch tour, because America merch tour, like, I just have to be a 3X. I already hit that, or a 2X, my bad. And I'm already close to hitting that. But being able to fit into merch that I get from Korea or Japan, that's another goal right there, because they have smaller sizing. So I think that's like the ultimate. No, okay. No. But it's just like kind of another like example that it's a little too small to put in there. I guess I could have thrown it in there, but another thing that's really been motivating me, which is one that honestly, I don't even know if I should have put this one last, cuz it's a bit of a downer, but one of the big motivations that has really been pushing me forward is my dad. So like, I know, like why'd you single your dad out from the rest of your family? Well, my dad, he passed away when I was 27. Yeah, I think it was 27. It was in 2023, and he passed away from just like um COVID related symptoms, complications. He had been sick for many, many years before that. Like, my poor dad, he was sick for, I don't know, like, I want to say like 7+ years, but he's always had some kind of ailment. Like, he's had a really tough time with lots of different like medical like complications from different surgeries, and he's always had this really bad like illness in his leg that was just like severely untreated. And finally, like by like the end of his life, he had started to get pretty, like, his blood markers were really, really low. So like he had like zero platelets, like any kind of severe impact would he wouldn't have any platelets to stop any kind of internal bleeding. He had very low like white blood cell counts, so he could get sick very easy. And I don't know if anybody else has gone through like having a sick family member where you truly live your life on like the skin of your teeth, like the whole time, right? Like, I can recall so clearly the first hospitalization that where I got a call saying like, come to the hospital please, like there's something wrong with your dad, it's something really serious, and like we need you and your sister to come down like as fast as possible. Like, and the first time hearing that, absolutely terrifying. Like, I was nowhere near close to where he was at. Like, it was from, if anyone wants to like, or I guess maybe I can put it, but I was in Reno, Nevada, and he was at a hospital in Modesto, which is around 3 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And to have to drive down this precarious mountain, and like just being like a ball of freaking nerves, wondering what the hell was going on, what happened to my dad. Like they didn't really give me more details, and like just like I remember it being so scary, and you never fully get off of that feeling. Okay, like you it's because like after that it was a lot of, we don't know what's wrong with him. He's very sick. There's something not right, and he was in a lot of pain. He was experiencing a lot of complications and issues, and we don't know what he has, and so we don't know how to treat it. Like there was no prognosis. There was no hope for getting better because they couldn't even figure out what was wrong, right? So to live in that for so long, so long, I can't even remember when it happened. Like I can remember the day, clear as day, or like not the date, but just like the way that it proceeded. But just like having to always have that in the back seat of your mind that like my dad is sick, suffering, hurting, and not being able to help do anything, just feeling like any day I'd get a call telling me like the bad news, right? I knew this one was going to be a little hard, but to live like in that for so many years, like there was no chance of like me ever like really working on like a lot of my own issues because I was worrying about my dad all the time. And like this whole time where I was worrying so much about him, and like again, I didn't have really good healthy coping mechanisms, and so I know I was ballooning like crazy and I was just eating, and because of just like so much worry, so much stress of everything that was going on, not being able to do anything. Like it's a really, really hard thing to live through and have to, just be like, because at that point, right, like I was a young adult. I'm pretty sure I was past my teens. I'm pretty sure I was like 20, 21 or something like that. Maybe even older. I'm not 100% sure. I like, again, it all felt like a black hole of my life, like a very dark, very like time didn't exist. So like it felt like centuries, but it also felt like 4 years. It just like there's no anything in there. And I mentioned that like yeah, I was I was going through a lot, and this was the biggest one. And I know I mentioned it in a lot of my video logs that I have already covered, but I was just too scared to even touch it because every time I try to talk about it in the vlogs, I would start crying just because it was such a big deal. Like it was truly the open wound that I still have, that I'm still trying to really see how much it actually tore me up inside. And like definitely just feeling like I definitely was not the best with my grieving. Not that I was like out there being like horrible, like, or being mean to people, or I just mean like to myself. I wasn't very fair to myself. I didn't allow myself to grieve um in a very healthy way, cuz again, um like it was hard when he was really sick, and like that caused a lot of issues, right? But when he passed, it was like another another wound, another open wound, because I never truly processed all of the emotions and like hurt from the years where he was fighting for his life, right? And hold on, because I don't want to be just crying this whole time. Like, but to not allow myself to even like work through that pain and that hurt, and not realize like how much that affected me, and then having to go into like the grieving process and not even allowing myself to do that in a healthy way, in a way where I was able to really get everything out. It really built my trap that got me to as big as I did, truly. And I don't want to do that. I don't blame my dad for any of that. Like, that's none of his fault. Like, my dad, he, even when he was sick, did his best to do everything he could for his daughters, me and my sisters. And like I I wanted to make sure that I took that gift that he gave me, right? Where like he ay, ay. He gave me the gift of having like 5 to 6 more years with him by fighting so hard to go through his chemo, going through like every possible lab and every possible doctor that he could, so that we can have more time with him. And like I don't want to then like kind of throw away that gift, like not throw it away because I still had that time, but I want to be able to now take the life that I have, and that he like I guess like that he wasn't able to have, like unfairly wasn't able to have. And I want to make sure that I make the most out of every second I have here, because you don't know, like when like anything might come about, when anything might like strike. So I don't want to have excuses anymore that I can't do this, I can't achieve anything, that I can't, when I've seen through like my dad going through such adversity and fighting through so many, like, oh, you only have 6 months, oh, you only have a year, you only have like XYZ, and him pushing past every single one. Like I don't know, like I don't want to be um I want to be the daughter that can carry on that flame of being able to do hard things, being able to be such a pillar, because my dad was like a pillar to our family. So sorry y'all for getting a little weepy, all right? Like, but I want to be able to do it for him. Pass that on, or like carry that torch, and be able to do the hard things and live a life that's worth living, and not allow myself to keep like tearing myself down and not believing in myself, when I know like if I were to tell him any of these thoughts that I was thinking, he would be absolutely like I honestly think he might even be insulted if I were to tell him like I had no self-worth, I didn't believe that I could do anything in life, cuz he was like my biggest cheerleader. You know what I mean? Like he would have been absolutely like, how dare you think about my daughter like that? How dare you? So I want to make sure that I can be the like the I want to be the daughter that he like believed I was, right? Like the one that could do anything. Yeah, like to do like that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And he always believed that I could. So it's been a little hard because when he did pass, like I said, a lot of like two holes, like two open wounds of just like trauma, sadness, and all these other negative emotions. And I try to band-aid them like I did everything else in my life, where I would just be like, food, food, food. Get like just get over it, consume until your thoughts of sadness and everything just go away. And that wasn't fair to myself. That wasn't fair to my future self, and it wasn't fair to my younger self, which is I wanted, actually, did I say that this is my last one? I actually had one more which I thought might be like a good like tension breaker, because like I knew this was going to get a little sad and it was going to get a little like, you know, uh I also am motivated because I want to do it for my younger self. And I know like younger self stuff is like in a lot of like the spiritual side of like stuff, but if you're not like spiritual like that, I don't even think it's like a spiritual thing necessarily, where it's just like, oh, thinking about your younger self and trying to heal your younger self and like all of that kind of things isn't necessarily always just related to spirituality. But I know for a fact I have been trying to not like hide her, my younger self, but I kind of did. Like I was trying to not let them see how much I've failed them for so long. Like, so I would repress a lot of like what my younger self wished for, a lot of what my younger self, and try to really be like, well, that's impossible, that can never happen, like, just because I didn't want to like deal with like the fact that I've disappointed that person. Like I talked down on a lot of my younger selves like dreams, aspirations, what she wanted, what they imagined when they were thinking of like what like we would be as adults. And like again, like I just did like, well, no, it's because I was dumb, I would have never been able to do that, no, like this is blah blah blah. And so now I'm trying to finally get my shit together so that I can be somebody that we're both proud of too, because doing it for other people and doing it for yourself are equally as important. I think doing it for yourself is top of the top, right? Because like wanting to do it for your future kids, your future partner, wanting to do it for like my dad, right? Like it's all things that are deeply ingrained in me and are definitely things that I hold in very high like regard and do keep me going. But wanting to do it so that I finally stand up for myself and stand with myself, right? Because like to be like, yes, it is possible. Yes, those things that we've always dreamed of, they are possible. We're gonna do them if we just try, and we're not gonna like hide her away in a little box anymore and be like, oh well, she was a quirky little one, she really wished for some crazy things, she really believed she can do like this, she believed whatever. And to let her out of that box and be like, let's do it. Like let's finally get it together and let's get the wheel turning, let's start changing our lives, because it is possible. And I really hope I did not fucking sound just absolutely disgusting after the last the last little talk, because I can feel, oh my god, I have so many tissues in front of me right now. That was not fun, but it was maybe a little bit cathartic. But I'm sorry if anybody else out there, like I know like sometimes it's hard for me to hear other people talk about like their grief and stuff like that. So I'm very sorry if anybody else had to go through that with me. uh I don't know, should I put like a content warning? Should I don't know, but that is definitely like I said, the biggest motivators for me on this journey. And I want to be able to, of course, have like new things that come in, and maybe some of these won't, well actually no, these are pretty much like the big ones, like yeah, BTS is up there, all right y'all. Don't question it. But I know like I wanted to mention like how BTS helped me through a lot of that stress, because I was a fan through all of that like time of my life, with through the grief, through the everything. And I definitely like they were like, I know like again parasocial, like a lot of K-pop is super parasocial, but truly feeling like I had seven best friends that, and they have amazing music. So like the music always really helped me emotionally, and especially like in 2019. Um, and it's an album that they don't even remember they freaking made. And I think any fan would know which one I'm talking about, maybe. But it was like the BTS World soundtrack, and also just like their like Love Yourself Tear album, Love Yourself Her, all of them were like in that period when I was going through so much. And again, just like having that feeling where I had like my seven best friends who were kind of going, like I was walking hand in hand with, as I was going through all this, and they were kind of like my shining light. And again, I know it sounds parasocial, but hey, you know what? If some people say that like Doctor Who saved their life and that the show helped them, and for other people it could be Friends, and for me it was BTS. Okay, so that is some of the things that again keep me motivated. So if any of you guys are going through a weight loss journey, and or have gone through a weight loss journey, what are some of the things that you guys like did it for, right? Like what were some of your guys' motivations? What were maybe some of the silly things that kept you through it? Anybody else that had maybe something a little more unconventional that helped them through it and that motivated them through the tough times and all of that, I'd really like to know. So again, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, like please let me know by hitting the like button. And if you disliked it, you can hit the dislike button too. That's fine. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching yet again. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.